TEGkickstart. So Keith, give the listeners a little bit of an insight into what that is, what's it all about, you know, that kind of thing. A bit of an update on that as well.
Well, TEGkickstart, again, that obviously with the entrepreneurs group, we sort of deal with entrepreneurs, people who are starting a business. But one of the things that we found in lockdown is that it's something like 33% of people in Britain, especially the younger end, think about starting a business, which is massive. You know, that 33% is a really big amount. But what we found over the past probably 6 to 12 months of the pandemic is that people have just decided to give it a go. And, you know, a hairdresser who has a chair in a salon has suddenly thought, right, I can get a premises, or I can go mobile, and I can start a business on my own. So what we decided was, and what TEGkickstart primarily does, it sort of caters for the people that have run their business for maybe 12 months, maybe 2 years, and they're getting to a stage where they're coming up to submit the first set of accounts. They're starting to think about marketing and what sort of audience should you be marketing to. Once you've marketed to your audience and you've found your audience, how do you sell? How do you close the sale? Finance, cash flow. You know, do I have a bookkeeper? Do I not? Do I do it all myself? And that's the problem, because if you're on your own, then you have to do everything yourself. So what sets off as being a fantastic opportunity and really exciting can quickly turn into a chore. You know, because you're having to think about everything else other than what you started it for. So TEGkickstart caters for people probably in the first 12 to 18 months before they've submitted the first set of accounts, if you like. And what that does is that helps them not only find their audience and market to their audience, but also close sales. So it's a bit of it's very much like starting a business, but we wanted it to be for people that had actually given it a go.
Yeah. Yeah, so people who are, you know, in the moment and they're doing it. I think that's really interesting because, you know, I can definitely vouch for just, you know, taking the plunge. That's definitely something yeah, exactly. And I think sometimes it's quite cool because you just, you know, oh, let's just go for it. Let's just see what happens and go for it. And then if there is that support, you know, a couple of months down the line, and if you, as you said, first 6 to 12 months, and that's fantastic. And you know, just some people like myself, there's lots of things you don't think about when you're just going for it. You just think about what you're doing, how you're going to bring in sales or whatever, or how you're going to, you know, make your clients happy. But there's a lot of behind the scenes, and there's a lot of cash flow, and there's a lot of this, and there's a lot of marketing and planning. And, you know, for me as well, you know, I do marketing for people, but you also have to market yourself, and doing that for anybody is quite difficult because you have to put yourself front and center. And I think, you know, even, you know, training on that and things, it's really invaluable, especially if it's local. You know, if people are coming to us from, you know, local aspect, it's much nicer than, you know, sitting on a course which is broadcasted from London or whatever. It's a bit more local, because I think with marketing and putting yourself out there, it does have to be a bit more localized. Because, for example, in West Cumbria and Cumbria as a whole, I find Facebook to be massive compared to your other social medias, where you might go to Manchester or London and Instagram might be the biggest thing. I just think Facebook seems to connect everybody in Cumbria, especially with all the groups and things. There's a hell of a lot of groups. Yeah, I definitely think Facebook is, especially for consumer-based, you know, service businesses, your hairdressers, all that kind of thing, plumbers, electricians, etc. And I think, you know, Facebook is kind of that tool that people sometimes overlook because they use it for personal reasons. And I think actually Facebook is so incredibly powerful. And if we can train people to use it correctly, or we can train people how to think like a marketeer, so that they don't actually in their first couple of months have to spend a fortune or have to spend anything at all. If we can teach them how to do it, you know, and there's that thing about planning and scheduling and being organized as well is really important. And I think with this kind of TEGkickstart program, it's really going to be invaluable again. But yeah, I think it's really nice to see people taking the plunge. I mean, do you think, Keith, that there is going to be, you know, an influx of kind of get up and go business people and get up and go entrepreneurs? I think, you know, are we starting to see that shift in people's behavior in terms of, I'm just going to go for it?
Definitely, and I think that comes from, you know, a lot of people think that it's just young people who have that get up and go, and, you know, they just get up one morning and think, I'm going to start a business. But we know through our experience with TEG Corporate and TEG Virtual that that's not the case. It's primarily the younger people. But I think what Cumbria will start to do, and I think the bus station is a really good example of how this can work. I think we'll start to attract people into West Cumbria and Cumbria, the wider area, because not only is it a great place to live, especially on a day like today, but it's a great place to work. So, you know, we within TEG, we have a slogan: live, work and play. And West Cumbria and Cumbria is brilliant for that. So, yeah, I definitely see things changing with inside of West Cumbria. And obviously with the, you know, I hate to say the decline of Sellafield, because I don't think it's a decline. I think just with an ease and back, that gives everybody sort of permission, if you like, to start a business, to think about something, you know. And I think one of the things about TEGkickstart is, what we've found with it is that we help people partner with other businesses as well. So at one time when I started my first business, which is like 26, 27 years ago, partnerships were really, really thin on the ground. But now we're finding that through Facebook and other social media platforms, that people are getting together, and you can form a loose partnership to create work or create a company, you know, just to provide a specific portion of work. So I think we're really only limited by what we can think. You know, our imagination, it sort of limits us at times. So what I would say to people is just, you know, I hate the term, but I have to use it because everybody uses it, and it sums it up perfectly, is definitely start to think outside the box. You know, we touched on marketing before, and one of the things as a marketer myself is that people think they need everybody. So when they go onto Facebook, they're trying to please everybody, but you don't. Yeah, it's better to have 20 people that really love what you do and can sustain your business than what it is spend all your time trying to get 2,000, because you've never managed 2,000. So one of the things about TEGkickstart is we help people with that sort of thinking, you know, that you don't need everybody and you don't need to close every sale. You've got to make sure that the person that you're selling to, you're going to work with, because it ends up a relationship. You know, a lot of the people that I've worked with have ended up friends, and that's a great way to be. So I think two things: go for it, you know, but go for it steadily. Don't leave your job. Run it alongside your job. I'm not going to say hustle, because that's another thing that I hate. Use it as a side project. I'm old school, but always have in the back of your mind that there's massive amounts of opportunity out there, and there's the opportunity you can grab.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's really kind of inspirational work, Keith, actually. But yeah, I think it's, you know, it's important for people to just have a go first, you know, test and trial it. And as I think, you know, some people may have seen on our Facebook page, we posted something last week, and it's, if you're ever looking for somebody's view or opinion on your business or your idea or your product or your service, never go to a direct best friend or your mum or your dad, because they're going to be quite biased. You know, as you said, Keith, it was your kind of quote. It was very much, your friend might say, oh no, that's not going to work, and your mum and dad might say, oh yeah, that's fantastic. And they're only saying that because you're your friends. They're not looking necessarily as a consumer, or they're not looking as a, you know, a supplier or a, you know, a corporate customer or whatever. So I think it's important to kind of just, you know, find somebody who's kind of an outsider, who isn't associated with anything to do with you. You just know of them, and get their general and genuine opinion. And I think it's really important to test the market, you know what I mean, and test the waters, if you like. But yeah, as you said about collaboration and partnerships, we do see a rise in that, and we also see a rise in you know, people buddying up, if you like. So a lot of people, when they go into business together, it's always really important, isn't it, to have each of you bring something different to the table. So somebody might be excellent at finance, and somebody might be, and you know, running the business and organization and implementing whatever, and someone might be good at, you know, fantastic at comms or marketing or the actual, you know, talent required to do the service. And I think it's really important that people just don't go into business together because they're both fantastic at the same thing, because that's, you know, sometimes it's quite,
you've got to complement each other.
Yeah, you've got to each bring something different to the table, so that either one of you couldn't live without the other, if you know what I mean. So I think that's really important. But yeah, no, I think that's been a fantastic update for everybody. So hopefully we get lots of people listening to this and feeling inspired to start their own business, or come to and ask for help or whatever. So yeah, just thank you for joining us, Keith. And if everybody can stay tuned on our social media, we will update you in due course about everything we're doing, training, all that kind of thing. And we hope to see some of you on our courses and programs in the very, very near future, hopefully T minus a month. But yeah, so thank you for joining me today, Keith, and enjoy the sunshine.
Will do. It's a pleasure. Thanks, Ollie.
Awesome. All right. Chat later.
Yeah.